Hello everyone, my name is Feyi. I'm a Nigerian based in Toronto, Canada, and I'm trying out this YouTube thing for the first time, just trying to share some knowledge during this quarantine period regarding Canadian immigration. So I'll be talking about a lot of things on this channel, ranging from, studying in Canada, how to select the proper program to take, how to select a university to come to, what provinces to come to, as well as just generally living in Canada, switching from, study permit to a work permit and becoming a permanent resident and a citizen. So this channel is going to be pretty loaded. If you're interested in all of that, please make sure you subscribe down below and give this video a thumbs up. And also comment in the comment section below so I can take video requests and answer any questions that you have. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So today I'm going to be talking about tips for international students in Canada. I came to Canada as an international student from Lagos, Nigeria, and it was quite an experience. It was not an easy journey, so I just wanted to share information so that people can have all these resources that I'm going to be linking in the description box of this video and in other videos as well, to help them prepare better to come to Canada. Without further ado, let's get right into the video. So my first tip for international students looking to move to Canada is to first make sure that the program you're coming to study is eligible for a postgraduate work permit, if that's your goal. So basically, when you school in Canada, you may be eligible for a postgraduate work permit, meaning that after studying, you can actually stay back in Canada to gain experience. Now, this is optional, you don't have to, but for people who want to, you need to check, because not all institutions and programs actually qualify you for a postgraduate work permit. So you need to make sure that you actually visit the link down below. I'm going to be linking, resources in the description box, so please check that out. I'm going to put the link to the page where it shows all the institutions in Canada, their designated learning institution numbers, and if they actually have programs that qualify you for a postgraduate work permit or not. It would be very disappointing if that was your plan, to stay back in Canada and work, and you spend all this money and you later realize that you actually don't qualify because the program you took was not eligible for a work permit. So please make sure that your program is eligible for a postgraduate work permit. If you want me to do a video about how to apply to universities or colleges to come to Canada and study, I can definitely do that. Just leave a comment down below and I'll be happy to share information and resources on that. So my second tip is basically, you've applied, you've gotten your study permit, and now you're in Canada, you're an international student. My next tip would be to save as much as possible. Save money living in Canada. It's very easy to be wasteful in Canada because everything is so expensive, from accommodation, whether you're on or off campus, food, transportation, and all of that. You always want to find ways to save money. So for example, you could, instead of renting a whole apartment to yourself, a 1-bedroom, you could actually get a 2-bedroom and share. So you could have a flatmate and just split the rent and bills. It's much cheaper than actually staying by yourself. If you're the kind of person that likes your privacy, that might not work for you. I personally, started in a 1-bedroom apartment by myself, but after 2 years, I realized how much money I was spending. It was a bit late by then, but it was okay. And I ended up getting a 2-bedroom and splitting bills. Trust me, it saves you so much money. It saves you so much money, and it's worth it. At the end of the day, you look at the savings, the pros would outweigh the cons, unless you're really prepared to be by yourself and spend that extra money for privacy. Another way you can save money is to cut out, eating out. So you could eat out maybe once or twice a month if you really want to, but actually cooking is going to save you a lot of money. So getting groceries and, just not going to restaurants every single day or every week would actually save you a lot of money. So there are different ways, lifestyle choices that you should make that would help you save money. It's very important because, like I said, it's so expensive here that before you know it, it adds up really quickly. Canadian dollar adds up really quickly, especially when they slap that 13% or 15% tax, HST on it. You realize that you've spent a lot of money. So just do your numbers, run your numbers, and make sure that you're living a lifestyle that would help you save money rather than be wasteful. My third tip is, as a student, you want to take advantage of bursaries and scholarships. Now, in colleges and universities, there are a lot of options for bursaries and scholarships that you can apply to. You want to make sure that as soon as you start school, you start asking around. So the financial aid office or international student office, go there, ask them questions about available bursaries and apply for them. You can actually get like $1,000, $2,000 in bursaries, so that would go a long way in just getting back some of that, tuition money that you've spent. That as an international student, you're paying a lot of money to school here, right? So the bursaries and scholarships would kind of help you supplement that a little bit. And it does go a long way. I mean, it's free money kind of, right? So why not take advantage of it? My next tip is to take advantage of student discounts. Now, a lot of stores have student discounts. And there's actually a card, I think it's called an SBC card. I'll find the details and link it down below, where it's just one card and it gives you discounts in so many different stores as soon as you present it, right? So you can have like 10%, 15% discount because you're a student. So these are things that you want to take advantage of. Another example of that would be, your banking. So when you go into the bank as an international student, you want to let them know that you're an international student. And that way they, offer you checking accounts and savings accounts that are actually tailored to your needs as a student. So you don't have to pay monthly fees on your banking and things like that. Those, $4, $15 fees, they add up, all the time. So you want to make sure that you actually take advantage of all these opportunities that international students or students in general actually enjoy. My next tip would be to be prepared for coursework. The education system in Canada is, it has pretty high standards. So you want to be prepared. You want to learn how to do proper research. You cannot plagiarize. Do not plagiarize, okay? If you're used to copy and paste assignments, that you just Google stuff and copy and then paste them in an assignment, that is not going to work for you in Canada. You would get into serious trouble and you could actually get expelled. You would face the disciplinary committee. Do not plagiarize. So be prepared to actually work hard. Classes sometimes for courses can be as long as 4 hours, right? So if you're used to 2-hour classes, some people would have 2-hour classes and they're already yawning. No, here you're going to be in class for quite a while, depending on the program you're taking. So you want to actually make sure that you're prepared to to be in class for that long. So you could have snacks and water, drinks, whatever. Just make sure that you're prepared to actually be alert and awake so that your brain can assimilate what you're being taught. There's a lot of assignments, a lot of presentations, a lot of, group work. One thing that's different between, Canada and Nigeria is that in Nigeria, I think there are fewer presentations and group works. The exam is, basically carries the major weight. Here, the exam does not carry majority of the weight. So it depends on the program again, right? But you're going to have a lot of assignments and tests as well as presentations that would actually add up. So you need to work hard on those and also work hard on the exam. Okay, so that's one thing that takes some getting used to, actually putting in the same amount of effort into so many different things that will add up to your 100% grade. My next tip is to get used to using collaboration tools. Here, like I said, there are going to be a lot of group works, group presentations that you'd be doing. So you need to make sure that you actually know how to use tools like Google Docs, Google Sheets, and Google Presentations. Those would really help you and your group members to work collaboratively. It just makes it easier when you're able to work on an assignment and on different computers and all of you are able to see each other's changes real time, it's going to really help you and make your group assignments easier. So, just go on Google Docs, see how it works, try Google Sheets, try Google presentations. It's really going to help you with group work. You cannot do without group work when you're studying in Canada. It's ingrained in the system and it will help you eventually. My next tip would be to take advantage of the resources from your school. Most schools have like online libraries where you can actually access books from the comfort of your home. So you could, you don't have to go to the library if you don't want to. You could go on your school's library online and access resources there. You could also go to the library if you're a library person. Even if you're not a library person, you should still go to the library, to ask for help when you need help. Our writing styles are a bit different, so there are certain expectations that your Canadian professors would have, regardless of whether you're an international student or not. It wouldn't be an excuse. If you need help with your writing skills or your writing style and how to adapt it to the Canadian style of doing things, then you just need to go to the library and ask for help. There are people there that would mentor you and assist you with your assignments. Also, you want to make use of tools like Grammarly. Grammarly would basically help you identify any errors in your assignment that maybe Microsoft Word failed to pick up. There's some things that would slip through the spelling check or errors in Microsoft Word, but Grammarly is going to pick all that up, and you can actually get the free version of it online. So you just go to grammarly.com, copy and paste your assignment, and it would pick up all the important stuff. So typographical errors, grammatical errors are not forgivable. You're going to lose marks for those. So take advantage of all these resources that you have available to you. My next tip is to learn the Canadian culture. Now, a lot of people would experience culture shock just because, maybe they haven't traveled a lot, or they haven't traveled at all, or they're just used to a certain way of life. You need to kind of open up, be open-minded, and accept, or at least learn the Canadian way of doing things. Canadians are, they're very polite, they're very nice, they smile. Sometimes it might be fake, sometimes it might be good, it might be real. Who knows, but there's a Canadian way of life, and it would be good for you to adapt to that, just because, it would help you in the long run. The earlier you adapt to the Canadian culture, the better it is for you to get opportunities, when you're looking for jobs, and even have better relationships with people, right? Don't be that awkward person who doesn't know how to relate with people from other cultures, especially Canadians, because you're in Canada, right? So you have to be able to adapt to the culture here. My next tip is to be friendly to people from other cultures. Now, not just Canadians, Canada is a melting pot of different cultures, so rich in culture. You meet people from all over the world in Canada, especially if you're in Toronto, even in other cities, even the smallest cities, you're going to find a good degree of diversity. So that's something that you want to keep in mind. Don't come to Canada and say, oh, you're only going to be, rolling with Nigerians. You can do that. That could work for you, but it wouldn't help you in any way. You want to open yourself up, be friends with people from other cultures, learn their cultures, it will help you. It would go a long way. In your group work, it's natural for people from the same cultures to just stick together. So, sometimes, when you're choosing groups, the Nigerians would form one group, the Indians will form another group, the Chinese will form one group. You don't want to do that. You want to mix, right? So that you can learn. There's a lot to learn from mixing with people from different countries and other cultures. So it's very, very important that you actually, just be open and be open to being friends with people from other cultures, other countries. There's a lot for you to learn from them. Next tip is to prepare for the cold. There's nothing that I can say in this video to prepare you for the cold. There's nothing anybody can tell you that would actually prepare you for the cold. You hear it, but when you feel it, it's different. Trust me, you can never be over prepared prepare for the cold. I can't say this enough. It's something else, to be very honest, and this is, largely dependent on what province you go to, but in general, Canada is freaking cold. Okay. Canada is freaking cold. Invest in good boots. I cannot stress this enough. People walk down the streets in the snow and they fall and hit their bums and their head on the ground. It's painful. Invest in good shoes, good winter boots. It doesn't have to be an expensive, pair, but invest in good quality boots. Look online, check reviews, make sure that the boots you have are secure. You only need one very, very good pair. Every other one can be, just to supplement on days that it doesn't actually snow. You also need a very good jacket, right? So invest in a good jacket, invest in good gloves, not gloves that you wear and you're still feeling the entire cold. Like it doesn't make sense to just buy, stuff and they end up not working and you end up still spending money on the quality stuff, right? So you might as well just spend the money and invest in good quality winter gear instead of, trying the bad quality ones and hoping for a miracle. So another thing you want to keep in mind is that, depending on the city you're in, the transportation system might not be that great. So if, in the winter, you don't want to be standing outside for 1 hour because the bus is late, so you want to keep that in mind. If you have to get, accommodation closer to your university, it's going to be more expensive, but it would pay you in the long run, right? If you want to get a car, just get a car because winter here is not a joke. Driving in the winter is also not a joke. Driving in the snow can be very, very, very dangerous and you have to get used to that. So you have to do a lot of practice. Okay, so just prepare for the cold. It is not a joke. Okay, so my next tip is to get a job. Now, as an international student, you're allowed to work for 20 hours a week. So please take advantage of that. You need to work. It's not just about the money and trying to supplement money for accommodation or money for food. You need to work so that by the time you graduate, you actually have work experience, Canadian work experience. Canadian work experience is one of the major impediments to actually getting a job in Canada. And it's kind of a chicken and egg scenario where, if you don't have Canadian experience, some people don't want to give you a job. But if you don't have a Canadian job, how do you get Canadian work experience, right? So it's like a catch-22 there. So if you're a student, it's easier for you to get a student job. Okay, it might pay, just a little bit above minimum wage. It might be, just for 12 hours a week. But guess what? You can get 2 student jobs that will add up to 20 hours a week. So I feel like if your program is one that gives you some free time, if you don't have to go to school every single day, and many programs are like that. You don't have to go to school every single day, especially if it's a graduate program, a master's or a postgraduate diploma, postgraduate certificate. You might go to school maybe just 2, 3, 4 times a week, right? So you might still have some time on your hands. Please use that time to get a job and work. You're not going to regret it. It's going to really help you by the time you're coming out of school. You're not just, a Canadian graduate with a Canadian degree, but you would also have Canadian work experience that would help you land a good job when you're out of school. And my last tip for you in this video is to network and find a mentor. Now, networking, I'm sure you've heard this if you've been doing some research about living in Canada. In Nigeria, we call it long leg, but in Canada, it's networking. It would take you a long way. Network, especially as a student, right? Because everybody knows you're a student. So when you attend events for students that are networking events, people are there actually trying to scout early talent. So organizations would, have some student events, student recruitment events. Take advantage of those because that's how they scout people. Some of the jobs that you actually get from those events would end up being very good corporate jobs that are high paying. So don't underrate it and say, oh, it's a student thing and you're a graduate student. No, actually take advantage of those events. attend them. Contact people on LinkedIn. When you're a student, I feel like people are very eager to help. So if if you contact people and you tell them, oh, I'm a student of this and in this college or in this university, people are able to give you advice and help you and even offer you job opportunities, pending the time that you actually graduate. So you want to make sure that you take advantage of that. Find a mentor and network. Attend student events. They're very, very important. And that's it. We've come to the end of this video. I hope that all the tips were useful for you. I hope that you give this video a thumbs up if you do like it, and hit the subscribe button down below. Also leave a comment for me in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. If you're an international student or a potential international student, drop a comment. I want to hear from you. I want to know if you have any experiences that you want to share. I'll be happy to hear them. Thanks again for watching, and make sure you share this video with your friends who you think might find it helpful, and I'll see you in my next video.